Hello everyone, my name is Kevin Vaughn, Technical Software Specialist here with Graitec Group. Thank you for joining me at this week's 15 at 15 session, where we'll dive into mastering Revit key schedules with Ideate BIMLink. So in this week, we're going to look at the different ways we can create key schedules in Revit and using a product developed by Ideate Software called BIMLink. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we'll be happy to assist you at the end of the webinar. Thanks. Okay, so let's start with what is a key schedule. So for those who don't know what a key schedule is, it's essentially a way which automates the addition of consistent information inside Revit. Okay, and it's the ability to eliminate repetitive manual input for generating schedules. So what it does is it allows you to create a schedule within a schedule, and it allows you to assign keys or different types of things for, let's say, a room schedule. Inside a room schedule, instead of having independent items, rows of items, you can actually simplify all those items with different room finish types. So in this slide, we have two room types. One's typical and one's wet areas. So with this example, rather than manually filling out a different finish value for every single room, if these room finishes are repetitive, we can actually use a wet areas room type instead of manually creating that type manually. So with this in Revit, we use key schedules to address this problem, and key schedules can be applied in many use cases. So it's not only for room finishes styles. We can apply it to hardware groups, space styles, and a lot more schedules. So now that we know what key schedules are in Revit, what are the limitations of native Revit key schedules? Well, the first one is limited flexibility. Revit schedules are rigid in formatting and customization compared to Excel, where users can apply formulas, filters, and conditional formatting. Data entry constraints. Bold editing is cumbersome in Revit, whereas Excel allows quick modifications across multiple rows and columns. Collaboration challenges. Revit schedules require access to the software, making it harder for non-Revit users to contribute, while Excel files can be shared easily. And then the last point, lack of advanced data analysis. Excel provides powerful tools like pivot tables and charts for deeper insights, with which Revit lacks. So we now understand what key schedules are in Revit, and also some of the challenges when creating key schedules in Revit. And we also understood how easy it is to generate key schedules in Excel and some of the advantages described in Excel. What we're going to cover next is how we can bring those two different platforms together using a software called Ideate BIMLink. So what Ideate BIMLink allows us to do is to export huge amounts of parameter or properties data from Revit to Microsoft Excel. And in Excel, we can then review, make changes, and seamlessly push back the data into our Revit model. So Ideate BIMLink becomes the standard for all your Revit data management needs, and the Revit schedule just wasn't designed to be as powerful as Excel. With the power of Excel to manipulate your Revit data, you now have an easy and powerful interface between Revit and Excel to maximize your productivity. So the product also comes with pre-configured links that allows our users to be productive quickly and easily. Okay, so let's now look at a demo here in Revit. So I have this project open, and what I'm going to do is create a key schedule for my room schedule. So let's now go down the list here and go to rooms. Now we need to check the schedule keys option here, and I'm just going to rename this to room finishes. And then I'll rename the key name to type finishes. And the idea is that we're going to create a schedule that allows us to create different rooms types. So when it comes to selecting the finishes for our rooms, we can reference our key schedule. So here in the fields, I've just gone and selected key name, ceiling finish, floor finish, and wall finish. And click OK. Okay, and that's my room finishes schedule. So now in the Ideate software tab, I'm going to open up BIMLink. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a Excel file that references our Revit schedule and then saves out an Excel file for us to edit. Okay, so in Ideate BIMLink now, we first need to find our room finishes template link. Okay, and now I'm going to just run through my linked properties here. Click OK after you're happy with the properties. And now we need to export that as an Excel file. Okay, so after opening the Excel file, we have the fields and columns here, which we can then manually fill in. And the idea is that these will now become our different room types. So let's say, for example, we have a room type 1, a type 2, and a type 3. And these different types will have different ceiling finishes, floor finishes, and wall finishes. So let's say for type 1, we have gypsum board for ceiling finish. We have tiled floor finish, or carpet floor finish, and then a painted wall finish. Type 2, we have gypsum board. We have a tiled finish for the floor and a wall tiled finish for the walls. And then for type 3, we have wood paneling, polished concrete for the floor, and a painted wall finish. Okay, so now with that, we can then save it and bring that data back into Revit. So now in BIMLink, we can select that template link and then click on import, find our file, bring that back in. And then once we've reviewed the changes in yellow, we can then import that into Revit. Okay, so let's now look at our key schedule, and you can see it's populated the types of room finishes. And now let's jump back to our floor plan view and find the properties area in Revit. And you can see here, if we select a room, we can then go to the type finishes. So the type finishes, we can then pick from our type 1, type 2, type 3, and then after clicking apply, you can see it's populated those values there, and that's referencing our room key schedules. Okay, so just to look at other types now, so type 1, we have these values, and then type 3, we have those values there. Okay, and now we can do this for multiple rooms as well. Okay, so you can see it's how easy and quick that is to set up a BIMLink. So now let's look at another example. So let's do a key schedule for Windows. So this key schedule would be focusing on the window orientation. So I'm just going to quickly create a key schedule here. So I've got key name as a field. And now let's open up BIMLink from the Ideate software tab. So for my template link, I'm going to click on new and then find it in my list. So let's go with window style schedule. Okay, so I have ID and key name. And then I'm going to export my link as an Excel file. And that will allow me then to make edits in Excel. So in here, in Excel, let's create 3 different IDs, which will become the 3 different keys for my window types. So we can then set values for those 4 keys, so north, south, east, and west. Okay, so now those become my key names. And then once I import that back into Revit, I can then use those types and assign those values in Revit. So let's import those. Okay, so there we have the data imported. So back in our floor plan, let's pick a window. Okay, and you can see in properties, there's windows orientation. Let's assign that to north for 1 window. And we can also assign multiple windows. Let's just filter out the windows here. So back in properties, window orientation, we can bulk assign, say, north as a value to all those windows. Okay, and you can see here north is assigned to this window. Now, once you've assigned the appropriate values to the windows, what you can do is in your schedules, you can reference the key schedule in a window schedule as well. So here in the window instance schedule, in fields here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the window key schedule as a field. Okay, so I'm just going to add that across. And the idea is that in this schedule, you'll be able to kind of reference the orientation of that window inside your main window schedule. Okay, so if I look at the drop-down menu here, it references those 4 options again. Okay, so just to summarize again, why use Ideate BIMLink to create our key schedules? Well, the first point is it allows us to seamlessly exchange extensive Revit data with Excel, including linked files as well. And it allows us to make rapid parameter data edits. In the example earlier, you can see how we created key schedules for room types and also the window orientation schedule. And we did that very quickly by using that workflow from Revit to Excel. It also allows us to manage data beyond schedules. It allows us to easily batch create new Revit elements as well. And then also it utilizes pre-configured QA/QC BIMLink types. And if you think back to the earlier example, we used pre-made templates called links, which we can select from our Ideate library to build out the link for our room key schedule and also for our window orientation schedule. And that can be applied to Kobe links as well, health check links, and QA/QC template links. Okay, so this now concludes our 15 at 15 training session today. If you have any questions, please ask them in the chat and we'll try to get back to you. If we didn't get the chance to answer your questions, you can reach support by emailing us at support@ideatesoftware.com. And on the website, you'll be able to fill out a survey and also access other help pages there, and also download a trial of Ideate software. And also, this session is also recorded and will be made available on our YouTube channel. So to access the 15 at 15 training series, be sure to go to the playlist in YouTube and find the 15 at 15 recordings. Okay, thank you for attending today's webinar, and goodbye.